An invitation has been issued. There's a huge amount of psychology around the way invitations are issued, the way they're received, and the response to them. Sometimes you can tell more underneath the scene about what's really going on than just the surface of what people say when they issue an invitation and how they respond. First of all, there's a lot to be said about the fact this invitation is incredibly public. It could have been done a bit more privately. So perhaps a message was being sent by the public nature of the invitation. And maybe the message that's being sent by the public nature of the invitation is that although we may be a bit hurt and a bit bruised by what's happened between us, you are still invited, you're still welcome to be part of this family, and certain key events you are invited to come along to. So some people might see it as a kind of burying the hatchet, a rapprochement, an attempt at a reconciliation. And given the difficulties that have occurred between this group of people, I think the issuing of the invitation is psychologically hugely significant. There is a sense in which the invitation puts the ball very firmly in Harry and Meghan's court psychologically, and they're in a bit of a trap, some people may say, because if they accept the invitation, it looks like what they're kind of saying is, we complained a lot about you, but at the first opportunity to come along to a big event, we're going to say yes. So it kind of like raises the question, what was all the complaining about before, about the problems that this family had created for you in your lives? So that's the problem if they say yes. If they say no, they look ungrateful and bitter and a bit twisted. Why not bury the hatchet and say yes? To say no seems rejecting, negative, pessimistic about the future. So there is a sense in which the issuing of the invitation, if it was done for this reason, is a little bit of a psychological masterstroke. The way an invitation is issued is hugely psychologically significant. You can say something like, you are formally invited to dinner at our place on Saturday night, something like that, or you're invited to our place, where quite clearly we are inviting you and there's a transaction going on between us. I could issue the invitation a different way. I could say something like, would you like to come? And that changes the psychological tone and kind of puts the ball a little bit into the court of the idea that I'm trying to accommodate you, that you're more in the driving seat. So the way an invitation, the formal wording, is significant in terms of the dynamic between the two people. The way an invitation is received, and in particular the first response, is also, some would say, hugely psychologically significant. If you ask someone to something and they pause, then that pause is psychologically very significant. And in many films, that pause is used by scriptwriters to signal something. So there is a pause occurring. We don't know whether Harry and Meghan are saying yes or no, and that pause is sending a message. The way you accept the invitation, we'd be delighted to come. Thank you very much for asking us. We'd be honored to come. The way people say yes is also hugely important and psychologically significant and interesting. The way an invitation is accepted can tell us volumes. If people take a long time before saying yes, there's a sense in which, is it really a yes? Is it an enthusiastic yes? If they say yes, but they say, unfortunately, my partner's very busy and she can't come, that is also sending a certain kind of message. So the way the yes is enacted, what time people turn up, if they turn up early, if they turn up late, they turn up at the last minute, if they turn up fully accepting all the duties and obligations and the dress requirements, etc., that tells you to what extent they've signed up to the whole project. So there's a lot to be seen yet in terms of the way this yes happens.